episode 9. He's Isaac.
He's Philip.
We are
The Unfiltered Podcast,
And
bringing you tips and tactics to meet life's demands.
with the owner, the mastermind behind Fudges Flowers. We have the one and only Bonnie Silbaugh.
Well, hi, guys. It's
Hey.
been fun getting to know you here as we're getting rolling today.
on.
It's fun.
Glad to have you here.
Well, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Probably more excited than I should be, maybe, but I'm pretty pumped.
No, you are exactly the right amount of excited.
Yeah,
Good. This is kind of my life, is usually pretty excited about things. So
we're hyped that you're hyped.
Yeah.
awesome. Very fun.
Yeah, it's fun that you've been in this house before and you've seen it differently.
Before, kids
yep.
did daycare in here, and I come down and it's a studio. It's like, this is legit.
What was it like before? What was just
Hangout kids,
Yeah.
like just open space and beanbags and carpet and
Right.
just kids wrestling, and I mean, just fun. Which
See,
you guys
well-
probably, I mean, I don't know what goes
There
on.
could still be
but
wrestling
there
down
could
still be? It hasn't happened yet, but I'm not ruling it out.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
depending on who the guest is.
that's right.
Yeah.
Get McKinley Robbins in here.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. Then we're gonna
Show us
be
some moves.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%.
That's funny.
Which is crazy that like I've thought about this. Like, I wonder if I can take McKinley, and the answer is like no. The answer is no.
No.
Definitely not. Yeah.
No, I don't want you to try.
Nope. I probably get
You don't wanna
injured,
get
and
hurt.
he's so fast.
He's quick. Little
He's so
guy.
fast. A lot of those wrestlers, just the way they know how to maneuver a body.
Oh,
It's game
sure.
over.
It's
true. Yep.
For sure. Oh, too funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a few years. It's probably been 10 years or so since I've been down here. And
Right
the whole
on.
house is just wonderful. You guys made it really nice little family
It's
home.
good.
Love it.
Well, thanks for sure. You know, you said that you did a lot of reflecting before you came on to this.
I did.
What did you reflect about?
Well, I've listened to every podcast you guys have done.
Nice.
And so I just am like, gosh, he's going to probably ask me, who are you? And I'm just like, I don't know.
She's got you figured out,
I
man.
do. He has a thing. He has some things that he does.
Yep.
So then I really had to think, well, who am I? And you don't want to go in list of importance because then you leave somebody out. But it's kind of like, well, yeah, I'm a wife and I'm a mom and I'm a business owner and I'm a younger Christian. Even though I'm older than you, I'm a younger Christian than you guys are, which makes sense
Yeah.
if you guys have been raised in Christianity.
Sure.
I kind of came to it as an adult when I was pregnant and kind of led it that way. And
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I did, yeah. Well, we'll dive into that too.
Okay.
Super
Should.
fun.
Let's make some notes.
Yeah. So, yeah, right. But yeah, a daughter, sister, friend, love animals, which is why I like that you have a dog down here sometimes.
Yes.
That's fun. Personality, I like to make a joke, have some humor. It gets you through the day. And I kind of love Jefferson. I'm kind of a Jefferson advocate. I love that you said Winterset's kind of similar because I've never really been to Winterset. So now I kind of want to go. But yeah, so that's kind of where I stand. And I think you've had a lot of guests that kind of cover a lot of those topics. So
For sure.
yeah, super fun.
Because there's what you do, and then there's how you do it, and then there's why you do it. So why did you come back here? Or what is it about Jefferson that you love so much?
Well, it kind of sounds like what everyone says, but my family was here. And so that's kind of what brought me back here. But yeah, I went to school here my whole life, was raised here. My parents grew up here, or in Peyton, but close. And so everyone knows my maiden name and my married name, and their families grew up here. So it's just kind of, that's home. It's always been home. It was home. Went to college, came back. Went to school to be a secretary. I think they call it an administrative assistant, but it's, a secretary, depends on what you want to call it. Did that for 10 years at a local business and then decided I wanted to do something else. Wasn't sure what that was. And then worked at a flower shop in high school and went back to the owner and just asked her if she thought about retiring. And she said, yeah, I kind of did. And then a year later, I owned a flower shop. So
Wow.
Just like that.
Kind of like that. It's kind of happened in a weird way. But yeah, so love Jefferson.
Was that Kay? Yeah.
Yep, Katie Richardson, she was my boss and owned it for years. And it's been a flower shop for 5 generations. So I'm the 5th flower shop owner of it.
Crazy.
And all of them take it to retirement. So that's kind of my plan too.
There's a legacy there.
I know, I'm trying to keep up with it.
Right on.
So
That's neat.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
That's super cool. So you just took a chance. You were like, I think I could do this.
I do. Yeah. I loved my job before. I loved my bosses and my customers, but I just knew I was going to be doing that same thing and I didn't want to do that same thing. And so took what I learned there and just thought, you know what, I can figure this out again. And I didn't realize how much I liked it until I started it, and then I love it. So
Where did you work before?
Farm Bureau Insurance in town.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Did that from 20 years old to 30-ish.
Really?
Yeah. So did that for 10 years.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. So in the business world, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah. Customer service. It's the same thing I
yeah.
do now. I mean,
Yep.
people think I design flowers all day, but I do that sometimes, and I love it. But I deal with customers all day. People, you guys, people. I mean, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
It's all about your relationship skills with people. Learned
100%.
a lot. So yeah.
Nice.
Love it.
I think it's interesting that you like took a chance on that flower shop, like not even necessarily like, would you have said that that was your passion at that point, or it was just like, well, here's something that I could try. So
it was, one of the owners, the owner at the time had kind of always teased me like, hey, maybe someday you should do that. And I just laughed it off. And then I just asked my husband one day if he thought that might work. And he goes, why don't you just ask him? And then we just had dinner together and kind of figured it out. It was just kind of one of those like small town deals that it just happened. And it
awesome.
was, super fun to
Very
just
cool.
have it work out the way it did. But it kind of, I wrote down a quote, and this is kind of one of my quotes that I post every year on Facebook. And it was, luck is when an opportunity comes along and you've been prepared for it. And I just think we were in the right place financially, and my husband was supportive, and our kids were at the right age. That makes a big deal when you're starting a business. It's can be harder when kids are younger. And so, just kind of, I hate to say it just worked out, but it did, but I worked for it to work out.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, because that quote there suggests that luck is not all 100% chance.
Right. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it can't be.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the lottery, but you had to play the lottery to have the chance to win. I mean, you have to do some action to be lucky. You don't it doesn't just happen to you.
Got to be in the right place at the right time.
Doing the right thing with the right people. Wow,
What's
Mr.
up?
Gronemeyer.
For sure.
Did you have him for
No,
principal?
he
his
exited.
legacy in our high school. That was maybe that's still their motto now, but the high school was be in the right place in the right time with the right people doing the right thing. Wow. I wish I could forget that sometimes. I mean, it's a great lesson, but wow, where'd that come from?
It's ingrained.
It's ingrained.
It's ingrained. Yeah. I feel like that's still active. Maybe a teacher out there can help us out with that, but
Probably Miss Green.
the motto, right. That's got to be the motto. Well, it's so good. It's so complete, you know? And so especially, you'd been training for 10 years for an opportunity, and the opportunity arose and you struck.
Yeah. Yep.
I dig that a lot.
Wasn't scared. I mean, what was the worst she was going to say? No, I don't want to, or
You weren't scared. You weren't scared to ask.
Wasn't scared to ask, or what was the worst that could happen from that? Nothing. I mean, her say no. Okay, well, at least I tried, and I know that I need to look for another opportunity. That's okay.
Ask and you shall receive.
Ask, seek, knock. Isn't that a thing that they read somewhere, right, Pastor? Like I said, I'm a newer Christian, so I kind of paraphrase a lot, but I think I get the meaning of a lot of it.
I really like the aspect of it too, where, like you didn't know that opportunity was going to be there for the 10 years that you were working as a secretary, but you were just doing the thing that you knew to be the right thing to do. And just, I mean, I guess I didn't know you from 20 to 30, but I would say to be positioned, you and your husband, to a point where you could step out and purchase a business as 30-year-olds. I mean, I would think you'd have to have made a lot of right choices along the way. And to me, like, your story is just a testament to the payoff that comes from consistently doing right, and how that sets you up when the opportunity for something bigger comes. Because we know everyday life is full of opportunity, to do right or to do wrong, to prepare or to, I don't know, please and kind of give away value in your life, like we talk about produce or consume. It's like you have opportunities for that every day, and probably a prolonged time of producing led you up to a point where you could step out and do something that some would just say was lucky, but I would say it's a combination of favor with that owner of the flower shop, and then also just good preparation. So I think that's an awesome testimony.
Sounds kind of fun. Sounds good when you say it. Sounds good.
Well, it kind of makes the mundane, I think, inspiring, because someone could look at 10 years of work as a secretary and think like, well, why would I want to do that? Well, so you can buy a flower shop when you're 30 and do something that you enjoy.
Yeah, and my customers from there, I see almost all of them at the flower shop and more. So, I mean, it's just a fun transition over. And it kind of goes back to Jefferson, and why I love Jefferson so much is, people think you have to know somebody to get somewhere. Well, no, you have to go meet somebody. Like, you're not just born into it. I don't know them because of my family name. I know them because I worked for them, or I met them somewhere and I talked to them or whatever. So I mean, and it was just that, even with the financing and getting things, I knew the people at certain banks to ask for certain programs to make it so I could do that. So
Cool.
Yeah, it's not always who you know in the way that people think it is. It's not some uppity thing. I'm not an uppity person, but
Like you just had all these connections established.
I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, even though one of my best friends is a Jones and I love her. But you got to know people, and then you know who to ask.
Yeah.
So yeah, it worked out. I keep saying that. Oh, it just worked out. It worked.
It did.
It worked.
Sure.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult thing from, the idea of maybe I could buy this flower shop to actually executing to maybe that 6 months to 1 year into the flower shop? I mean, what do you remember that was like, yeah, that was hard?
Ooh, yeah. A lot of lessons that
Lot of
year in
lessons,
between.
yeah.
One, having to quit my job that I loved and knowing I was going to leave them. Like, I knew how to do my job well, and they trusted that. So then I was like left a void for them for a while. That felt bad. In my first year, I remember missing. I didn't know I was going to miss it, but it was over a Mother's Day. My pre-K-er graduated, and I didn't know they were going to do a little graduation photo. So my mom just took him, and all of a sudden she sent me this picture, this adorable picture of this little kid that I missed that opportunity. That was the first time I ever cried at work, I think, because
really?
I missed something that my kid, women, sometimes we cry. But yeah, I looked at that picture on my phone and I
cried
just,
too. Men
cry
that makes
too.
me feel better.
Yeah.
But real men buy plants and they cry. That's but no,
Did you put that on a t-shirt? Yeah.
I need to.
You should.
I have a lot of t-shirts I want made.
Right on.
But yeah, so that was hard. And then one thing I posted, I was excited. I bought this business. It was a week from formally closing. We had told everybody. And then I said it on Facebook. I bought this flower shop, and the owner hadn't told an employee yet. And I learned a big lesson there.
Oh, wow.
And that was hard. That was a hard conversation after. And, but it was a lesson learned. I haven't done that again. And she forgave me, and life moved on. And I still have those employees, and
Wow.
they're wonderful. And so they forgave me too for kind of insert foot in mouth,
Sure.
kind of unfiltered in a negative way.
Well, right.
But I learned from that big time. I'm glad I did it then instead of now. As I get older, I should know better.
No, to wait until the deal is done, then make it public.
When your attorney calls and says, "Did you maybe post that?" I said, "Oh shoot, I did. I'm so sorry." You learn.
Yeah.
You learn. I mean,
Yeah.
people are forgiving, but yeah.
Did you have to take it down?
I did. I think
Yeah.
I did out of respect for her, and then after I re-put it
back
on because it's such a Facebook memory. I mean, why else get on Facebook other than your memories?
It's true, honestly,
right?
at this point.
That's the funny.
So
Yeah.
true.
Well, So anyway,
Sometimes
but yeah,
those memories are a little cringy.
right? And then you delete those. That's the delete button. That comes in handy a lot if you need it. But yeah.
Oh my
no.
gosh. I read one from like 10 years ago last week, and
Yeah.
it said like, I used to ask you like, how is Isaac feeling today?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
posted something like, Isaac is hungry.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a sandwich. I was like, what did you
Yes.
post?
I saw one today that was
Terrible.
like, I found the chapstick. I've been looking for it for 3 weeks. This is in all caps. And I was like,
Yeah.
Lindsay, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So embarrassing.
It was a different beast
It
back
was.
then.
It's totally
Yeah.
different.
I love
Yeah.
that you say that because I've seen a lot of mine delete. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonnie Silbaugh is excited for the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Embarrassing.
Terrible.
I'm glad Facebook has evolved in some ways.
right.
Oh, my.
Thank goodness you can't just like skip back to like 2011 in somebody's timeline.
Right.
That would
You
be
have
terrible.
to scroll.
Yeah,
forever.
nobody's got time to scroll
You-
through 10 years.
You know who did was the poor Carson King. He did all this good
Oh,
fundraising,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they go find something stupid he said.
Yep.
It's like, come
When he was
on.
like 13.
Oh, yeah, when he was a dumb young kid, and what a good response he had. He
Right.
took it down and apologized. Like, I'm so sorry, I was so dumb, and I'm just like, you were 13.
Right.
That was how I found out what Venmo was, and now I use that all the time.
Right on.
I learned something from you guys, so thanks. But
Yeah, that was really kind of upsetting what they did
it
to him
was.
back
They kind
then.
of tore him
Yeah,
down. He did all
for
this
sure.
good fundraising for
Yep.
University of Iowa.
Uh-huh.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah, the Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So anyway,
It's like when someone's doing that good, what's the purpose in bringing them down?
oh,
Why would anyone want to slander Bondi Silbaugh with all
they could find something. I'm sure they could find something on all
Same.
of us if they wanted
Same.
to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
gosh.
There's some photos of him on Facebook that
Oh,
I will
Man.
spare you. We have the ability
See,
to
now
post
you
things.
said it,
I was
and
gonna say now everybody's gonna go.
now I have to delete my Facebook.
Maybe
so
you're gonna want to go. Mine too, honestly. So there's.
here's my
Yeah, for
thing though. I can answer for the fact that I've grown as a person today, and I think if that's the conversation that comes up. I mean, if somebody is poking around from 10, 15 years ago, and it's like, hey, this wasn't right. It's like, well, I know that now. I just didn't know it then.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot to be said for that.
good thing I've learned, huh?
Yep.
You don't see that coming out of me today.
Right.
Funny.
Good thing.
Oh,
Good.
man. I don't know
Not
how
posting about how I want sandwiches on Facebook today.
Not doing that anymore.
No,
we
not
just
anymore.
know that he wants a sandwich.
All the time. All the time.
Oh.
I have one. There was a song by Toby Mac
Okay.
called "Feelin' So Fly," and
Okay.
that was my caption was Philip is feeling so fly. And then I had a friend
Out of
who
context, that's a little awkward.
could have been hit or miss. So then someone commented on that. It's like, I just saw you like an hour ago and you were like not happy or something. And then I had to defend myself as to why I was feeling so fly. Just a weird, when you had to post on someone's wall.
Yes.
Back in those days. It was
Poke
bad.
wars.
Oh, my. Oh.
Facebook has changed.
Oh, it has.
Yeah.
As have we.
Right. Which
Bless
is good. That's part of life is that growth process and staying in growth, which was what we just talked about with Audrey and the growth mindset book was, being able to fixate on what you need to fixate on the things that need to be consistent, but yet stay in growth on the things that need to change and
Right.
continue
Yep.
to adapt.
Yep. I've known Audrey forever. I've
Yeah.
known her from middle school, and then I got to work with her. We worked for some kids with autism. Got to learn a lot from her from that. I mean,
Right
yeah.
on.
Talk about someone who's grown. Audrey. What a role model as a mom.
Shout out, Audrey.
Shout
out
out.
Audrey.
Yeah,
She's
for sure.
She's watching.
Yeah.
She knows.
There's this little crew of you that have, some good things going. Yeah, which is fun.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're here. You said something about being a younger Christian just a second ago.
Yeah.
Not meaning, you're in your youthful 30s, correct?
you. I
Yes,
think
so
I'm
you
30
are young,
35-ish.
35-ish, somewhere in the ish
Yeah,
range,
ish.
right? So you are young, but you mean like
Yeah.
you're more recently a Christian.
Yeah. So.
Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Totally fine. So just because I use my kids as reference, my husband and I have been married 11 years. Our oldest, my stepson, is 16. And then I have a 10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. So I was pregnant with the 8-year-old when I got baptized. So that's kind of
Okay.
when we started kind of our journey. And we went to a marriage seminar. It was called Weekend to Remember. I did not want to go.
Did not want to go.
Did not want to go. I'm a good person. I know people that know Jesus, don't need it. I'm fine. I can do good things without a crutch. You've heard it all before. And my husband and I, our host and hostess of our wedding, thought it would be really fun to go and we would learn a lot about each other. She goes, you don't have to believe in anything, just go. And then when we left, I'm like, we got to go to church. Like, if this is what this is about, we could find a place, but church is full of hypocrites. And then, we're all hypocrites. And so you have that internal conversation. And if you're a Christian, you understand what I mean. And if you're not yet a Christian, then if you go to something that just pushes you, then hindsight 2020. So anyway, kind of a younger Christian. I think we were in our mid-20s maybe when we started going to church.
What was the revelation from that weekend where that you went home and said, we need to go to church?
If the Bible says that our marriage should do these things, those things are so great. How can this be a bad thing? And grace, once you figure out what that is, and forgiveness is part of that, it's like, oh yeah, I want a spouse who communicates and forgives. And it just had all these references to like, here's what you should do in your marriage, and here's what the Bible says that kind of connects to that. And I'm not talking about any relationship in any type of marriage. We won't go down that road, but I just thought it was like, yeah, this is how I want my husband to talk to me. And here's how he communicates, how he understands communicate. Because I don't know if you two have noticed yet. You're younger, married, almost married, younger. Men and women communicate a little differently. I kind of like to talk all my feelings. And, so you learn how men communicate and women and how you can make that work. And there's just so many different things I learned from it. So then we started going to church, and now I'm like, I believe I'm an elder at our church, which is like kind of scary. I think I am because I'm willing to learn and I want to grow and all those things. So yeah, that's a terrifying title sometimes, but super fun to learn about. So yeah, younger Christian is what I call myself.
Got it.
Although I've been doing it for 8 years, I don't know when you can quit saying that, but I'm still really naive on a lot of things.
We're all growing.
We're all growing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was something in there about what reminded me marriages are either moving closer or they're moving further apart and they're never standing still. And you've said something on your podcast a few times about like you're either changing or you're not. And yeah, you can't stand still in anything.
Right. Because time is always moving. It's like you're in a river and either the river is moving by you or you're being swept away by the river or you're creating your own course in the river. But regardless, you're moving downstream. Yeah.
I feel like that's a Pocahontas song.
Yeah.
Just going to say, if we're going to do movies, I'm going to shout out to that.
Colors of the Wind.
Thank you.
Love
Thank you.
Whoa. Never seen the movie.
What was that?
I don't know.
He
Love
just
it.
has the soundtrack.
It just was there, you know.
Wow.
Bridget and I were talking about that movie last
It's like
night.
the only reference I know to that movie.
It's a God
but
moment right there. That's what I call those.
Colors of the Wind.
Something just clicks like that.
Holy Spirit. Just
I don't know if it was from him or
that would be
having younger
interesting.
sisters
Yeah, there you
influenced.
go.
I don't know.
Got it.
Oh, I love that.
I had older sisters, and that was not in the memory bank right there.
Then
not
you
at all.
weren't paying attention.
That's right.
We were too busy watching Remember the Titans and Rocky.
Oh, that's a good movie.
You had nice sisters if they
Had
were watching
nice-
sports movies with you.
Yeah, it's true. Well, most of the time. Yeah, watching sports movies. I
Yeah.
mean,
Remember the Titans, though. That's a good one.
Yeah.
My 8-year-old likes that movie. It's
timeless.
a good one.
Timeless.
It is
classic.
timeless.
Relevant. Yep.
Yep.
Relevant. Which, do you have anything to say on the?
I think that's awesome. I mean, to me, it just speaks to the fact that, well, number one, you know, Christianity is not just about following like a set of rules or going somewhere once a week. I mean, it really is about having life in your life. It's about fullness in life. And I think that's probably what you, in a roundabout way, took away from that marriage conference was, hey, this is a good thing. This is what I want, is something that works and something that's healthy and something that is fulfilling because it's the way God designed it to be. And so I think it's awesome how even, you know, that can be an avenue to get you in. And now it's like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I just
totally.
love that. Like you crack that door open and watch out, because once you get a taste of the life, you're going to want all of it.
Right. Yep. And it was super intimidating. High school, college, I didn't have any. Someone would say scripture, you know, at church, when do you stand up or down? It would be very intimidating to try to figure out. So, yeah, once you get over some of those, you know, weirdnesses or something that's different to you, anything that's different is going to feel weird. So, yeah, once it's not so different, then you're like, oh, yeah, it's no big deal. So, yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like doing youth group, though,
Yeah.
because they're young and they're impressionable. No. Because they're young. And so as we're reading scripture, I might be reading it for the first time because I haven't read that part before of that lesson. So we learn together. It's kind of fun.
That was actually one of the things I wanted to ask you was about the generational gap between you and your kids in a way, or in the world that we have today, in the world that your kids are growing up in. What do you see as good things and or pitfalls about society 2021?
You know, the only bad thing I can think of is sometimes my kids don't know how to communicate. And but I don't know how to communicate the way they do. They're totally comfortable sending their teacher a message on an app and being okay with that being the communication. And I want to pick up the phone and call or something.
Sure.
But that just makes me feel old because then the kids are like, oh, no, you just do it on the app, Ma. Well, okay, whatever. Whatever works.
I'm going to call.
Yeah, I'm going to call and get the whole story here. But yeah, but then, okay, this is where watching your other podcast kind of comes in. What was your mother-in-law's name?
Karen.
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 Oh, I liked her. It made me feel better about raising boys. You know, if my kids can be outside or jump out of a moving vehicle and they're going to be okay. Like, I know she said more than that, but oh man, when she said that, I thought, okay, my kid can wrestle and he can go get totally filthy dirty, or if he wants to be on his computer and design a YouTube channel on a nice day, maybe I need to be okay with that sometimes. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the hardest thing is trying to understand where they're coming from, being raised in a society with so much technology. I mean, what do we have?
Right.
Nintendo, I'm going to date myself, but like a DVD player came out. And
Right.
That was pretty cool.
Right.
Cool.
You know,
That's awesome.
We had
I
a
know.
VHS collection in my house.
Yeah.
Same
Right?
for a long time.
Same.
right?
Yep.
And what do you do with those when that's done? Like,
To the garbage.
I think they're really flammable, but take that with a grain of salt.
Right?
Internet,
I feel like in 20 years we're gonna regret burning all this stuff.
probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, so that can be kind of hard. And then, but then I even think of like my parents now, which they're not going to watch your podcast.
They're just not going to, technologically, they're not getting here.
What
So
if
I
we
feel-
put it on a CD for them?
man.
Maybe
No,
I don't know.
VHS, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
I love you, mom and dad. But no. But anyway, where I was going with that is, you know, now even like to sign up for stuff, it's all online. You know, just remember what email and password you use. That's all I want. So then I get frustrated with that. So I mean, it's every generation we
Yeah.
see, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
I know you're not supposed to write it down, but get a booklet that's just called usernames and passwords and websites, and
Right.
just write it down.
Yep.
So that's hard. I think but that's just communication through and
Yeah.
through, just different ways.
Because see, I think, oh man, this happened in the office the other day, and it was someone around your generation.
Okay.
And then they talked about how their parental generation had criticized today's teenage generation and how they're the root of all the problems in the world, in a way. And I was thinking about how, I mean, probably every generation in the history of the world has been critical of the next generation because they do things different.
Right.
And so how do you not be critical of that when it's like, well, I know this, and this worked, and now you're doing this, and this, and you think that's going to work? Like,
Right. I mean, we're never disciplining our kids enough, or we're letting them get away with too much, or, you know, but
Right.
I try to, and my kids if they watch this, they'd be like, oh, mom, that's not you. But I try to join them where they're at. So if they're way into technology, you're getting a really nice computer for Christmas. Or, you know, if you're even if it's not what I agree with, you know, my husband is an avid hunter, outdoorsman. He could be outside all the time. I mean, we lived in a camper 2 years ago for months. He loved it. No
Really?
problem. No problem. Yeah. We'll have to go there maybe too. Yeah. We lived in a
Some
camper.
camper
It was
stories.
great. Oh, it was I loved it. But they would rather be inside, you know, just being okay with that, I guess, is join them where they're at. Go learn how to do Minecraft. I can build a pretty good house on Minecraft if I had to, you know. Do I want
Nice.
to? No.
but
Yeah.
you're willing to
I can
do
get
that.
you a YouTube channel going.
Yeah.
Kids love that, you know.
Sure.
But
Do you think most parents are willing to do that? Or do you think there's a
Eh.
lot of parents that fight their kids'
I-
interests?
I fought my kids' interests for a lot of time. That's why number 3, I think I'm getting them figured out finally. Because my oldest one is like 2 years away from leaving. I think I'm finally figuring it out. So, yeah. But, I think my parents never understood me necessarily. I mean, what kid ever says, my parent really understands me? Maybe there's kids that maybe, I don't know. That's pretty, maybe I don't know. Gosh, that'd be lucky. I think at one point or another, every kid feels misunderstood by somebody. So,
Yeah.
I think we can meet them where they're at a little bit, but also you don't want them to be hermits in their house. I mean, you want to push them to do something. So there's a balance. Isn't that what everything's about? Balance of
Yeah.
something.
That's what this is about, for sure.
That's right.
Yep. That's exactly what this is about. I'm curious, what did you fight your oldest in?
Oh, computers. Way too much screen time. Why
And
are we doing that?
Sure. He was into it, and you were
Oh.
like,
Yeah, and his music. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, this heavy rock, Metallica, you know. So then I finally just bought him a record player. I mean, that's what's coming back now is a record. So got him some vinyls and was just like, you know what? Here you go. You like that music, you do you.
Like
And
Pink Floyd.
oh, you seen a T-shirt or something?
Saw it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, he may wear that a lot when he gets adjusted.
Got it. Yeah. It's just not the normal. I mean, it's totally unique. I mean, I don't.
You don't see that in a lot of 16-year-olds these
No.
days, but
Right.
yeah, you do you, I guess. I don't expect them to come and do flowers with me, so we all have our own thing.
Right. Right. What was your music of choice back in the day?
Back in the day, well, my mom was really into Life 107.1, like all the time. So we'd be rolling around in the minivan. That would be on. And that's like all I knew until I was like 14 years old. And then I heard Dad playing a Boston song one time.
Nice.
And I was like, this is amazing. The guitars,
The guitars, sure. Yeah.
this is great.
The melody.
And so I don't know. I like all kinds of music.
Yeah.
I mean, from classical to like heavier instrumental, you know, I like it all. I appreciate the
Even
musicianship.
hip hop.
There was. I mean,
Still black and yellow.
Stop it. You're not kind.
I'm just throwing a song out there, bro.
I know what you're doing.
All music
So
is
mean.
good.
No, there's
Yes.
there were times where I mean,
There's
I
good
don't
and bad.
like any of that now, but
Take it or leave it,
there was a time like
or leave it.
when I thought I would learn how to play basketball. I was like, oh yeah, hip hop's great, and it's because I had friends who listened to that and heard it on the bus. So
Yep.
and that maybe leads into a good discussion about the influence of peers, like molding you. Like I heard somebody, I don't know if this was, I don't want to like give wrong creditation, and I'm not sure if it was Audrey who said it. I just remember hearing it recently that like at some point in life, like peers begin to have the greatest influence on youth. So it's like up to this point in your life, and I don't know what that age is. I'm sure there's a study that would say what the general is, but like up to some point, a parent has the most impact or influence on a kid's life, and then after that, it's like the peers start to take over what that kid sees themselves or molds themselves into. And I mean that kind of fits along with that idea of show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you
Your future
Yeah,
or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like if that has merit and that could stand that at some point the influence of friends in most, and I don't think it's true for everybody, because I think there are some relationships, parents and kids, that probably withstand that, and parents may be able to maintain more of an influence on their kids than others, which probably has many factors. But at that point, like what if a kid is really being like drawn away or influenced to something that they weren't before, but like they start hanging out with people and this starts showing up? I mean, because that isn't necessarily like them. Maybe it's just something that's kind of been added because of the company they're keeping. As a parent, have you had any experience? I mean, I don't want to like point at one of your kids like, oh, here's a time where that happened, but
No. Well, I know I've been that kid. I mean, I was that kid who totally steered away. I was going to graduate early, get out of this town, that kind of thing. And so I've been that kid, which is funny to try to tell your kids that you know what they're going through and they maybe don't understand you really know what they're going through. But yeah, you kind of just have to ask your kids. I start just asking more questions, trying to communicate a little more. So, I don't ask to say like, who are their parents? Because I feel like that's kind of well, if their parents are okay, then they're okay. Because that's not always the case. But, how do you meet them? What do you guys do when you hang out? Those kinds of things. And just, I mean, in a year and a half, my oldest is going to be out of the house. So he's got to learn to choose friends. I think he does a pretty good job for his friends, but 5th grader, young girl, there can be a little bit of conversations that happens with girls that you wish didn't happen. So just trying to say what they say to you doesn't affect you forever unless you let it, that kind of thing. And so trying to let them figure that out a little bit too. But yeah, you want to have a good influence and you bring them with you along the way to good things and good people, but they do get to make that choice. And I guess I've told my kids before, you're not going to get in trouble for what your friends say, but what you say. So if your friend has a potty mouth, that's their own thing. But what do you say back in a text? Okay, that's on you. So yeah, they still got to make, and in college and life, they're going to come across people, that don't always say and do the best things. So, and they probably won't either at some point, but that's where grace comes in. Even as a parent, I didn't fail because my kid screws up, and my parents didn't fail because I screwed up. So I hope that's the way.
Well, because that's inevitable, right? Like,
I think so.
people inherently are not always going to do good,
Right.
which means your kids, and you try the best to keep them safe in with the right people, but yet they're going to come across those people that tempt them to do who knows what, right? Like you've been around those people, I've been around those people, you've been around those people, you probably were that person but we all can be. Sorry.
I was definitely. I'll take the heat on that. I was definitely.
You were that person that had a bad influence on others.
My
really?
whole 9th grade year, I didn't hang out with my good group of friends, and
Really?
my parents couldn't figure out what was going on, and I can't tell you either. A year later, I figured it out, and I was okay. But
Really?
yeah, totally steered away. But figured out I didn't want to do bad things, and so
Figured out the hard way, or
the hard way. Not consequences as terrible as they could have been, but should have been probably. My mom hears stories now about my window opening, and I think, yeah, it opened pretty easy, Mom. But
because you were sneaking out.
curfew at 10:30.
The truth
That's
comes
hard.
out.
Yeah, she knows.
She knows now.
Yeah.
It's funny how stories tend to come out like 10, 15 or more years later. It's like, oh yeah, you didn't know about that, but
And
this is how that hole got in the wall.
Yeah. Oh, always a hole in the wall somewhere or another, or a file cabinet getting kicked or what have you. See,
Impressive.
I do listen to your podcast.
Impressive.
I do.
Impressive. Yeah.
Oh, too funny.
Yep.
Yeah, your sisters. That was a funny one hearing them
Well,
talk
because you
about
know,
you growing up.
Sure. Yeah. You and Aaron, were you?
She was a grade under me.
Yeah.
But we were always softball, volleyball.
Yep.
We were both catchers. We
Yep.
both, both love sports.
Yep.
A little competitive. I'm sure your mom or dad coached us somewhere along the way
Yeah.
in the softball
Yep.
days. So yeah, Phil was just this little guy running around with another little kid, just getting in the way, being loud at the pool at tournaments or whatever. So
I can't believe you remember that. Yeah.
I just remember the little boy. I don't remember
Sure.
a ton, but yeah, I do remember that. You were this cute, adorable little kid. And Aaron's like, it's my dumb brother. I'm like, come on, no. She
Probably,
loves you now. I mean,
Right.
she understands.
Right. I don't know what she thought of me. If I was raising ruckus or making noise or,
No, I don't think
Being
she
that
cared.
guy.
We were all having too much fun.
right. You weren't paying attention to the couple little kids.
No.
Me and Shano
Yeah.
Sandorf.
Shawners, I still called him that when he
Shawners.
worked at the rec center. He was like
Yeah.
in his late 20s. I don't know. Is that right? Like 20s?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah.
guy.
For sure.
Did you have a favorite snack at the ball fields?
Bro, super ropes
Super
Oh.
ropes.
or those.
Like, is that what the nerds
He-
like the candies?
That's a straight
Those
sugar
are
rope. He
nerd
recommends
ropes?
them still,
Oh,
right?
nerd rope.
That would
false.
be like,
I've removed that from my list of recommendations.
oh, what a fun hater.
Yeah. Just like one big long piece of licorice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Then
you could wing it around. I mean, it
You
was
could wing
3
it
feet
around.
long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally 3 feet. Yep. That was it.
That was
Probably a
Wonderful.
couple. A Reese's peanut butter cup would have tripped my trigger, and a good old Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
Yep.
I can't even imagine seeing you eat all three of those things at once.
At one time.
I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the tables on you guys because this just
You
brings
gonna do this
I'm
right
gonna
now?
do a little bit of this right now.
She's going
Bonnie's
there.
hosting.
Okay, so I have watched a few of your podcasts, and so I have some questions. So first one's on Isaac. How
Okay.
much coffee do you drink in a day?
Well, it depends on the day.
On a bad day,
On a bad
a bad Philip, what he would call a bad day.
what's a bad
Philip?
day?
Too much.
Too much? What's
Yes,
too
what's
much?
a too much caffeine day?
I don't know. Coffee. I would say like the most I can remember drinking in recent history would be like 3 pots in a day.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But like I don't make it like super strong though. I mean,
balance that out.
at least like at the office. I mean, I probably make well under the recommended. So
Caffeine in a day or the
yeah, the caffeine really doesn't. I mean, I don't feel like it affects me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it does, but
you probably would never know until you went without it long enough, and then
yeah.
I had to cut
I've
back.
gone days without coffee before, and it doesn't
feel-
seem to bother me.
I think that's because you're young.
Maybe.
I bet you so. I notice it now if about 9 o'clock rolls around and I haven't had a cup of coffee, just one. I can tell.
You know, I can go throughout most of the day without like. I mean, I could go all day without it. It's just if I'm at a place and it's there, like I'm gonna drink it.
It's social. You're a social coffee drinker.
Well, kind of, but I can't really make that case at the office because there'll be stretches of the day where I'm the only one
Yeah.
there, but I'm still drinking
Well,
coffee
they
while
could
I work.
come in
so
at any moment.
That's true.
So you need to
Gotta
be
have it ready.
prepared.
Yeah.
See, I use humor to get through a lot of things.
Yeah, thank you
It's
for
fine.
that.
You're fine.
I do want to say though, like 3 pots is not an average day. That's like the most I could
worst.
think of, and that's where it was like started with it. It was there in the morning, there in the afternoon. I'd say a typical day is probably like a pot and a half. 1 to 1.5 would be a usual.
All right. That's not so bad. Now you, what else, Philip, do you drink other than water? Because I've tried to drink. I mean, look at, okay, I had a friend recommend this to me. This little thing on my water, it says, don't be a cactus. And it's a little light that will blink if I don't drink water enough.
That is really awesome.
It's actually pretty awesome. It's probably the silliest little gadget I own. But I love it. And it does. I'll try not to touch it for 20 minutes and see, but it blinks. And so it reminds me to drink
That's
water.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really
So-
smart.
But yeah, but other than water, I mean, you know, I don't have milk at work. So what else do you drink? Or don't you?
I drink coffee. This is coffee right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. If I have more than 2 cups a day, my body lets me know about it.
Jittery?
It's not good. Jittery. I become more dehydrated. The rule of thumb is every cup of coffee, you need 2 cups of water to make up for that hydration. the water that it took from you to metabolize that caffeine in the coffee. So how this guy makes it, it defies physics. And I have a machine that biochemistry, it's like your cells don't work the same. I have a machine that will tell you your hydration status, your muscle mass, your body fat, your bone mineral density. And it's the best thing besides like a water or air displacement tank. And he is pretty much normal on all of these things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool, but it's like,
also
it doesn't,
frustrating.
it's frustrating to us normal people who would be dying.
Normal
you
is
made me-
brilliant, though, right?
Yes,
Look at you go.
Bonnie.
I'm
Look at you
telling
go.
you, I like
Shout
that.
out Dr. Ken Wilson.
He was
my
an
brother.
interesting dude. That was,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. No, I really don't have that many questions on you guys, but I was super curious on what Taylor's your fiance and then your wife. What did they say when you guys were like, "Hey, we're going to start a podcast and we're going to do it in the basement"? And what do you think? I mean, were they super supportive? I mean, I'm sure they were because you probably both have super supportive women in your lives. But I just wonder what some of those things were that were like, well, do you really want to be recorded? Like, yeah. What did they say? Did they have any comments? I think you need to have them on a future show, whether hosting a show at some point or something. But that's
We'll
just
see if we can get them.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't want to be on
they're
camera.
they're not huge talkers
Yes.
by any means. So, yeah,
Yep.
that's kind of where we're at. But boy, they were supportive
Yeah.
for sure.
And they don't mind you being gone away for an hour, hour and a half doing a show. Depends on the day. Kind of like my kids. My phone's probably vibrating in my purse because,
It depends. Usually it's okay. Yeah. I don't know if, I mean, I can't speak for like what you and Bridget talked about. For Taylor, it almost seemed like, I don't know if she really, maybe I didn't explain well enough, like the scope of what it would be like. Because I think the first month we did it, it was like, yeah, I'm going to go over there and podcast on Friday for, for like an hour. And then it was like 3 hours. And
Yeah.
and then it was like the next week, hey, I'm going over there to podcast. And it's like, again? It's like, yeah, I know it
Yeah.
seems like it just happened, but
Yep.
once a week is once a week. So
Yep.
It's an investment.
yeah.
It's
It
probably
is.
harder for you to have to leave your home and come here versus like Bridget's she's right upstairs, We'll probably you can probably hear her footsteps and, Ellie crying and the dog coming around. So I'm still in my element, but your fiance Taylor, she basically like, if we say it's going to be an hour, she knows to expect
Yeah.
2.5.
So does my husband. He's figured that out with me. I told him I'll see him at 5:00 and he's like 6:30 maybe. I mean,
Because
he
you're
knows.
the talker.
Because I'm the top. He
Yeah.
knows I run on my own time schedule.
Sure.
But if I need to be somewhere at 9:00, I'll be there. I don't miss appointments. I'm not
Right,
disrespectful. But if I'm not, if it's kind of, I'll lollygag.
got
Is that still a
time.
word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll take the time every time.
So is your husband, is he a big talker or is he he's pretty melancholy?
He's he's mellow. Cade,
Got it.
I'm shouting out to my oldest son, but yeah, he gets his not talking from his dad,
Crazy.
Yeah. But no, at our wedding, I gave this really nice speech at the end, thanked everyone for coming. And I said, you want to say something? I give him the microphone and he just goes, thanks. That was it. That was all he said.
And he's good.
And the place dies laughing, because
Yeah.
that's him. But he's super supportive. I think that whole opposites attract thing in a way kind of works.
We get into these long, deep philosophical conversations, and then we get done, we come up for air at one point, and then it's like, man, we should have recorded that, or we should have, and then that, like, out of that, the podcast idea was born, and here we are doing it with you.
I love it.
Yep,
Well,
for sure.
I have a few notes of things like one thing, I still love the kids jumping out of a moving van.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
haven't listened to that podcast, you need to, because it'll just make you feel better about parenting. But no, one thing, I've stopped drinking pop. Like all of a sudden, all those Edo, what do you call them? Edos in
The
your
Edo
life or
family.
whatever. Yeah, the
Cheetos, Doritos, Fritos.
Yeah. And I didn't even think I wanted to. And I thought, you know what? I'll try it. Whatever. Drink water. Philip says get 8 hours of sleep. I've been doing like this 9:30 to 5:30 thing.
Nice.
Like, who am I?
Who are you?
I know. So anyway, I think it's making a difference, which is probably what your whole point is. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
and then I had to watch some of your sermons just to get to know you a little bit. So now I'm like watching extra sermons on a weekend. So,
All right.
I mean, isn't that your job, is to get people to watch your sermons and talk to them about it? So I think that's fun.
Just want to share the word. So it's out there.
Right? You guys are just so comfortable doing it. I struggle talking to people because that whole saying of what would Jesus do it really got kind of, I don't want to say made fun of, but it is that simple. If you just kind of take it all back, it's pretty simple, but everyone's made it so complicated.
Well, and you do have to know who he is to know what he would do.
Right.
And so that's where taking in the word is important.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't know him,
right.
how can you live like him?
And I'm really lean to a New Testament. I love the Gospels, but you can only read
too.
it. I mean, I should learn more, right? But I can handle those. Love reading those.
Yep. Me too.
Right?
Yeah. Getting into the Old Testament is a little bit, I've got to.
Different. Yeah. Mentally prepare.
Yep. Got to get there.
Yeah.
So
that's changed for me. I mean, I've been that way too before. And I still love reading the New Testament and the gospel, but I feel like once you really get to know the new, like you can read the old and the understanding there, like it really opens things up.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah, like you go back and you read about things and it's like, oh, well, I see how this connects to the New Testament. Like we do on Wednesdays, and maybe I've even said this before, but we do an apologetics course that's it starts in Genesis and then goes through it. And so like on our Wednesday nights, we teach a lot about Genesis in the Old Testament and, the first 4,000 years of history. And so it's like in that, there's all these Bible stories, and through those we gain a lot of New Testament principles. So there's always this element of, so how does that apply today? Because I almost think that if not addressed can be one of the downfalls to like just teaching Bible stories is like, oh, well, that's a neat story, oh, that's cool that happened one time and it has no bearing on my life today. But like it does, and there's always something that's applicable for right now and how we're living. And I mean, we through the word, I mean, we understand and we come to know who God is and how he interacts with us. So, it's his word to us. It's his revealing himself to us. So even back there in the Old Testament, it's like once you have an understanding of who he is, which probably comes easier through the new, then going back to the old, it's like, wow, I really see more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see a lot of Jesus in the Old Testament.
Definitely.
Oh, I'll have to go back now that I know a little more. One of my favorite movies that explained it to me was The Shack. Have you ever seen that? It's a book. I mean, most movies, believe it or not, are books first.
Right.
You can read them.
Very true.
My husband's like, what? Book? No way. But yeah, no, The Shack. If you've not seen it, you have to I've never understood God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit until I watched that movie. And then watching it with a youth group and their mind just goes, boom. They just all of a sudden they get it. What you're trying to explain the Holy Spirit to kids is even harder than all the rest of it. So that's a fun one with middle schoolers if you haven't done that.
Because you're teaching youth group?
We're going to start back up again after Easter again.
Nice.
So yeah, middle school. I love middle school age group. They're old enough to understand, but young enough that they still really engage. And I usually have the teenage girls, it seemed like.
Yeah. There you go.
They're kind of my group.
Cool.
Yeah.
For sure. It's awesome. It's good. The Holy Spirit, it's abstract. But once you get it.
Have you
like
seen that movie?
Yeah, I have. Didn't like it at first.
Oh, no, it's sad. It's a terrible movie. It's
not
totally sad.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Nope.
Oh, it's a really sad movie, but that whole getting over the sadness, yeah. It's not like a feel-good movie. It's a deep movie.
Yeah.
Deep book. Book too. But yeah.
Very interesting.
But that's why I like movies, because I feel like you could take any movie and put the deep lesson into it. It's probably why you like movies. You like to analyze the deepness in them. I think you're kind of a movie buff too, aren't you? A little bit, not as much as Philip, but
he doesn't have a favorite movie.
he brings it. Oh,
I like to watch movies, but I don't.
You don't think about them after.
Sometimes I do.
I catch myself in the dumbest movie, Finding the Deepest. Twilight was one of my favorite series. I could find so much of
I love that.
many forgiveness, great, all these things in that. Love that. My kids hate that movie because they've seen me watch it too many times.
So funny.
That's ridiculous.
So, yeah. Twilight. What a movie.
See, I told you we couldn't be movie friends after that
No,
comment.
we can.
Oh.
I like that movie.
Oh no. I feel bad for us.
I've never seen him, actually.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
Wow.
You'd really have to.
Should we watch a movie tonight?
Twilight 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I'm game.
Is there 5? There's 5. 4 books and then
5.
the last
4
one.
books,
They
5
did
movies.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Sorry.
No.
What else other than Twilight?
Oh, movie wise,
Yeah.
A Dog's Purpose.
Did that just come out?
Nah, it's an older one. Dennis Quaid is in it. He's just think of your life. Like, it's kind of, just you have a purpose, and this dog had a purpose every life that he was. It's so good.
Is that does the dog like?
He reincarnates. Is that
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He dies like 5 times in the movie. He dies in the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Oh, good.
I hate that.
And
We
like
did
comes
that.
back as another dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comes back as a police dog one time, comes back as a family dog for this high school kid. That's my favorite because I have a high school kid and this dog that reminds me of this dog in this movie. So, yeah, I love that one.
All with the same guy? Like this guy has 5 different dogs and it's the same dog.
Different people, different dogs, same brain, same soul.
Okay.
I guess is how I would say it. It's
Sure.
like the dogs. Yeah.
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, right?
I just remember him from The Rookie.
Oh, yeah, another good sports
Circa
movie.
Day, yeah, 2002. Did you see that one?
I think so.
Baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love baseball.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Oh,
What's that? What else? Top 5 list if you've got A Dog's
movies?
Purpose, Twilight. Is Twilight in the top 5? Or does it just
one or two of them?
you just
Is that like
respect
all
it?
5?
Sure.
Just
Twilight
top
is
Twilight,
number
Twilight.
one.
Done.
It is not your number one favorite movie.
I was saying that for Bonnie, not for
Thank
me.
you. Oh, Denzel Washington. I like a lot of his movies. I can't think of titles on the spot. Titles. That is harder than it should be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like him. Oh,
Even some of his hard stuff like Man on Fire. Do you know that one?
and I don't think I've seen it.
Oh man.
Man on Fire.
Man on Fire.
Man on Fire.
Yeah.
I did write down one Reese Witherspoon one. Your sister recommended. I'm gonna watch, but haven't done that yet. Yeah, but yeah, I mean any sort of movies. I'm trying to even think of some. Netflix recommends them. I don't have to think of them anymore. It just
Right.
tells me what I should
Serves
watch.
them up to you. Yeah.
Right? And that's scary.
Dangerous.
Terrible.
Do you otherwise try to stay off of social media and things like that? Or do you?
I don't get too consumed with
Yeah.
it, but business owners have to be on them somehow, and so I try to stay on the business side. My husband totally got off Facebook. Like he still has it, but he doesn't ever get on it. We watched on Netflix, The Social Dilemma.
Yes.
Yeah. And I see that in my preteen, young girls' suicide rates went totally up when social media came out. It's terrible. Depression went way up. And I see that in that age group. Me, I can, mine's more just avoiding all the arguing. Think if you knew someone and you didn't know them through Facebook, like how much better you would like them. If I didn't know anything that certain people put on Facebook, I would probably really want to spend more time with you than when I read your Facebook and I think, ooh, maybe not.
Yeah.
So I try not to be that person when I'm on Facebook. But, also then what I post on Facebook is usually pretty positive and it shines like my life is great. And it's not always wonderful. There are hard things in it, but you don't want to share that on Facebook because,
Right.
that's for you to go through
Right.
privately. So, or with people that actually know you, not your 1,062 friends.
Yeah, all of that. It's about what I have, I think, something like that. But
Yeah. But for business, you have to have it. And
Yep.
it works great to communicate when you're going to miss
Yep.
an appointment or whatever. So,
right. Yeah.
yeah. How about you guys? Much time on Facebook or any of them?
I can get in social dilemma
Yeah.
and how these apps are
Yeah. How they
made.
track you.
Yep.
Ooh.
And kind of made to just keep you flipping and scrolling and doing the thumb. I can get caught doing that there's like the video. I don't even know what part of Facebook it is, but on my phone, it's like one of them will just start sending you videos.
The watch.
That
Yeah.
one,
Facebook
yeah.
Watch.
Facebook Watch.
Yeah.
And then, so mine is full of movie clips. So I'll just watch 3 or 4 minutes. And then you can see the heading of the next one, or you might just flick and then, 15 minutes or 20 minutes is gone like that. So I have a 15-minute time limit per day set on
Wow.
the Facebook app on my phone.
Per day. That's not very much.
No. And
That's so smart.
there are days where, I know the code and I can give myself more time if I need, but I'd probably say 5 out of 7 days I honor that and I'm good. And then it's maybe one day I need to be on it more for some business thing. And then one other day I'm just having a ball doing my thing, so, but other than that, I just started getting on Instagram again, put it down forever.
It's a happy place for the most part.
Happier than Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. A lot
definitely.
less argumentative stuff. So I don't do Twitter. I don't do anything else.
Yep. And actually, I have friends that are more metro area, and I ask them, they're getting off Facebook. I'm like, so what do I use to market to people that are in their 30s and 20s? And they all said Instagram.
Oh yeah.
So
Instagram is where
yeah.
it's at.
So yeah, but that so
It's the life cycle of apps. It's
right?
like kids get them, and then parents get them, and then the kids get off them, and then
we're still.
it just backs up in the
There's
age.
the new thing.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And when we lived in our camper, we got unlimited data because we had to. We didn't have Wi-Fi,
cool.
and so yeah, we that
Endless.
really made it bad when we had unlimited. Oh no, but
The camper. Camper stories.
camper.
Do you have any other
Yeah.
camper stories right away?
Yeah, I mean, we lived in a camper. We sold our house and we didn't have a home to live in for a while. So we bought a camper and it was a fifth wheel and we didn't have a fifth wheel truck. So my father-in-law parked it on a property that we bought. And that was always the plan. We found this property because my husband was going to turn on the water and this man was turning it on so he could sell the place. And I just kind of looked at my husband and said, do we want to look at buying that? And he goes, I don't know. Can we look at buying it? We kind of were like, yeah. So Facebook messaged him.
Sure.
And then he
Yep.
called and it all worked out. So yeah, so we bought this camper and we put it out there and got unlimited data so we could do whatever we needed to do there. But I would just say overall, I mean, there was 5 of us in a camper, 3 kids, a dog, my husband and I. It's why I have a shop kitty cat now because the cat wasn't coming. My husband, Mike's like, I don't think the cat can come in here. He meows a lot. So we have a shop cat. But yeah, I mean, we had a porta potty out there because you don't want to be dealing with that all the time. So, I mean, yeah, we would go outside in the rain and we lived in it we sold our house in June and we lived in it till November. And finally the pipes froze enough times that in between getting our house, we had to live with in-laws for a couple days or a couple weeks. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, loved it though. We woke up every day to the property we were going to live on and cleaned it up. And I would go back to the camper days any day.
Because
It
you
was fun.
built a house.
We ordered one.
Oh, wow.
How you
Cool.
order them and then they bring them in and they put them down. So, what kind of countertop in the bathroom? This kind. What kind in the kitchen? The same. I don't want to make 18 decisions. I want everything. So, yeah. But it was in the perfect spot. It's right out of town, but in town. And so
Crazy.
we love our location. So we just put a house there that will be done. We'll officially own in 15 years and 3 months. So
Cool.
that's how that rolls.
There you go. Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome memory.
Oh, I hope the kids enjoy it. Like, I hope they remember, getting to be out by our barn and just having that. Very simple. Very simple.
Do you still have the camper?
We didn't. We sold it for more than we paid for it. And
Nice.
Awesome.
yeah, talk about using your resources
There you go.
wisely. It was like we just waited till the market was in the right spot and sold it. Yeah. So
Nice.
no, since we don't have a truck to haul it, we really didn't want to keep it.
Get that thing out of
Get it
here.
out
Funny.
of here. Yeah. So yeah, and another family was doing the same thing. They bought it because they were going to live in it while they were building a house. So
Nice.
yeah, kind of fun. Never camped before that much.
No.
Are you a camper now? Like,
No. Well, actually, we tent camp. When we go on vacation, we usually tent camp. So my husband and I went to Missouri last year and tent camped the whole time. And did you know a tent has to dry fully before you pack it back up?
Yes.
That's the worst part. I'm ready to roll at 6 a.m. and we're sitting there for 3 hours letting the tent dry.
Crazy.
Oh, we always just put it back up when we get home.
Well, yeah.
Let it air out there.
We did that, and then it rained, and then it was in the yard for a week. And my husband's like, "This is why we let it dry." He's smarter than me most of the time, more patient.
Truly.
True. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I'm kind of the go-getter, and he's the one who brings me back and says, "How is this realistic?" And then we figure out a plan. It's kind of how it
Balance.
works. Oh, he balances me big time.
you are the one that said, should we be looking at buying this? Like,
He's
let's
like, "I
do
don't know.
it.
Can we? Are you sure?" Yeah, I know this guy. Let's do it.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that works. Looking for opportunity, not just waiting for it to come to you.
Huge principle. What is that principle called? I feel like there's a name for it, I mean, you're just saying looking for opportunity, but yet, I mean, is that a go-getter? Is that what a go-getter does? Is they look for opportunity and they look to seize it on the moment?
Maybe. I mean, I call it impatient and stubborn is usually
Ah,
what I
maybe.
call it.
Sure.
But I'm sure there's a graceful way to say it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't let opportunities pass us by if we don't have to.
There you go.
Sometimes it takes more work. But
Entrepreneurial, maybe.
That's a word.
Down with
yeah,
that.
that's a
Yep.
word.
That's kind of what they do. It's like I look for the opportunities and then I make it into money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eyes up, eyes open.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Perceptives.
Look at her behind the camera. Eyes up, eyes open.
I'm going to write that down.
Wow.
What do you do with your ears?
Keep them open. Listen.
To the right things.
Yeah.
With the right people in the right place.
Yeah, there it is.
See,
At the right time.
you
Always
led
go
me to
back to
that.
it, huh?
Yep. Yep. That's
Do you-
fun.
What about, so I would call you an expert in career. We were talking about this earlier. Like you've executed this beautiful thing and acquiring this business, and it's basically become your retirement plan in a way, or you'll do it until you retire.
With Tim's buckets of money.
There you go.
See, we're gonna keep pulling this back
Amen.
to the podcast.
Wow, this is amazing.
I
You're
actually-
the podcast all-star right here.
I know. I hate to tell you, I'm not a groupie, but I just like it. Inspires me and it keeps me energized. And
Could be our tri-host here.
scary. No, I talk too much to do that. You guys are good listeners.
I think you're doing great.
It's
think you're
fun.
doing great.
I enjoy it. I think it's fun. But anyway, you were saying.
Well, there's
something.
that. So then if you've done well in the career and you've kind of proven that so far, but then how are you doing in the other areas? So you're talking about resources, time, energy, money, and stewarding money. You made it work for you with the camper, and you sold it for more than you had it. So it's like you came out on top on that. Do you have any other little money tips or tricks or things that you're doing right now with cash flow?
Yeah, well, I think it's important when you have, and maybe this doesn't work for everyone, but we were able to do that because my husband works for the city and he has a solid job with solid benefits and a solid retirement. So if I tried and failed, which could have happened, at least we had his solid ground to stand on.
Yep.
And now, so I think that's kind of important to make sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. We didn't, and some people can put all their eggs in one basket and fly. I mean, great. It works for them. They don't drop their basket. Works good. So I think that, I do think like entrepreneurs, I shouldn't say we as a generation, but this whole save 6 months of money. I mean, how scary is that for people our age? I don't think we were taught that maybe as much. So we are really trying to figure out what that is. I think making a budget and like actually writing down what you're going to spend, and then not forgetting like gas and food and fun. Because if you never do anything fun,
Right.
why would you want to pay all these bills? I guess we kind of budget for that too. So we're already talking where we're going on a date after this. It's like, yeah, we want to do one thing that's kind of fun in between all that other stuff.
Yep.
So I think that's super important. I'm all about balance, but nothing gets me too worried. If I get mad, I'm mad for an hour and then I'm usually over it. Just leave me alone for a little bit, give me a second, and then I'm okay. But yeah, I feel like I'm pretty balanced. My kids would say, "Oh, Mom, balanced." I don't know. What happens in the house. So the kids would always say something different, but
Are your kids balanced people?
my daughter is a mini me. I think she just rolls with things. She gets upset for 2 seconds and then you can explain it. Our youngest son is so like common sense smart. I mean, if I say something to him, and he'll say, "But Mom, why would you do this if we're going to do this instead?" And I'm like, I can't even argue with that. That's a solid point. And my husband just looks at me like, well, he's right. Like, Mom, why do I have to go to bed? I have this, and this. Or he just, I don't know how he does it, but he gets away with more because he's just he'll communicate what he wants. Kate, my oldest, he just kind of listens and goes with the flow, and he'll do whatever. But my son the youngest one will advocate for like, I should be on my big computer because I wasn't on it for that half an hour that I did my book instead. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Okay, fine. Go do what you want longer. So
It's making deals.
He's going to be a politician someday. I don't know. That or a pastor. No. He could. He could. You were raised with pastors, right? I think I remember that story. So yeah, I hope my little guy he'd be good. But yeah, so I don't even know where that went. But yeah, balance. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
But there was one thing you talked about, like resources for vacations. And we have just all of a sudden realized we have a sophomore and we got to get some more vacations in. So yeah, actually after listening to Audrey, we booked something for Gulf Shores. I'm like, you know what?
Nice.
We're going in 2022, but we're planning for it now. Like,
There you go.
we're going.
Did you get a Verbo?
I did.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
I call it VRBO because I don't know how to
VRBO.
pronounce it.
Yeah.
But a Verbo? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm 35, I guess. I don't know what those things are.
Used to be home away.
Oh, good night. What happened to Airbnb? Is that still
Still
a
a
thing?
thing. Still a
Okay.
thing.
Competitor.
Well, Verbo
Yeah.
was cheaper. VRBO? Is that
Often
is that a fact?
the same place will be on both avenues.
Oh, for sure.
And I have found Verbo tends to have a little bit cheaper for the same property.
See, and I did a Verbo for Wisconsin Dells. We're going to go this summer.
Boom.
I mean, I keep saying we want to go these places, and I'm like, you know what? We're just going to do it.
Right on.
And we saved a lot of money last year because we didn't sign them up for anything. There wasn't activities. So,
Yeah.
We saved. It's fine. It all balances out.
Huge fan of that because so much life experience comes when you get out of your circle, out of what you know to be normal and expected.
Yep. That was probably the only real COVID disappointment we had as our oldest was supposed to take a trip to Europe last summer that got canceled on a band trip. And, now he's not in band because he just didn't have that thing that kept pushing him to like it. And my greatest experience was going to France and getting to experience that and, travel wise anyway.
Yep.
And so, that's the only real missed opportunity. Otherwise, we were together a ton. We never ate supper more. Like we missed that. And now if there's 2 or 3 nights we don't eat together, it's like, wait a minute, this was the normal, and now we're going back to the way it used to be when we're all so busy. So, I think we figured out where our balance is, which is nice.
So you have a new normal now.
I love it, new normal. Yep.
How do you rattled off a bunch of hats earlier, wife, business owner, mom, did you say sister?
Yeah.
Too, or sibling?
Yeah.
Whatnot. So you're pouring a lot of energy out. How do you get energy back in?
Sleep.
Sleep.
They're-
Sleep.
They're, you know what? Don't they keep you going though? I mean, it's that they need you, so you need them, and it just keeps going around. Is the kind of where I.
You give them energy, but then they pour energy back into you in a way.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, I'm telling you, I use one of Audrey's things just to this morning. My child is a gift. Like my husband is a gift. Sometimes those gifts are hard to, so. You just don't say anything. And that's sometimes your prayer is saying nothing. Like you don't have to pray to anything. You're silent, and you can tell I like to talk. So my prayer is that I just don't say anything. So when you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I use that at church and at home and at work and everywhere. Here, which I haven't thought of anything mean to say, so we're good.
I mean, that's good. Let it flow if it fits.
No. No.
Whatever needs to happen.
No, but So that's kind of how we roll.
That's good. I think that's good. I think, really like that because essentially I think of the first thing I thought of was Jesus and the church in a way, or like how a lot of people think going to church is a drag, but
I have a kid or two that sometimes feels that way.
Right. And in my younger, less mature years, I would have agreed with those kids. But now I go to church, your church, and I'm usually filled up. And if I'm not, it's because I was probably out of the right frame of mind. Because there's enough people there who are doing the right thing and who are just on fire for the Lord and for life, that if you see that, it pumps you back up. And like when you're thundering away in the pulpit, it's like, I can't help but be a little fired up when I leave there,
Yeah.
And so let's
update the website to that description. Thundering away
at the pulpit.
Yeah.
That's
Something like
that's
that.
a good one. I like it.
We could do some lightning flashes.
I
with
was
the lights.
thinking graphic design too. That's fun.
That's part of what it's about, that scripture in Hebrews 10:25 that talks about forsake not the assembling of yourselves together. It's talking about the need for encouragement that people will have, and it says, and even more so as the days go on. So like the further we get along the way, the worse it gets out there, like the more that we need that. And I know I need it. I mean, I get just as much out of church as I hope I bring every week, And you said it's my church. I mean, it's not. It's his church.
I knew he was going to say that.
I'm just part of the. I'm part of the congregation. Yeah, I'm part of the body.
Sure.
And I'm doing my part.
Right.
But don't you find it interesting? I think Jefferson has 13 churches. Maybe?
Is that what it is?
It was
There's
high.
a lot.
I don't
So
even know
many.
anymore. But we all have something we disagree on. My church, probably yours, are probably polar opposites when you come to like anything you want to try to put a label on, which is annoying to start with. But we have so much more in common than we have apart. It's sad we can't just have one big church where everyone can go so kids could see how many Christians there actually are. They go to one church and there's only 10 kids in their youth group. Well, guess what? The other, 100 kids in your class, I bet you there's still 40 kids that are going to church somewhere else. But they don't see that. And they don't feel that. So yeah, but I just keep going somewhere. If you can't go somewhere else. Just keep going.
Yep.
Man.
I have often wondered if we can have a county-wide, citywide event that incorporates something that all the churches are to, that doesn't get into too much of the divisions and ins and outs, but like
Bell Tower Sunday, a Bell Tower worship.
Oh my goodness, Bonnie.
I'm just throwing it out there. I love Jefferson, love Bell Tower.
Wow.
I know someone who's helping plan Bell Tower.
Shoot. That was a good idea.
Who did?
Wow. I just got a vision of like a big concert.
I'm just saying. And I
Nice.
think what hangs people up is I hope it's not this, but I hope it's not the basket that gets passed around, or that some do communion, some don't. Who decides what? Just do a little worship. And worship is so different. Like you guys' church, you have like a worship that's just music. Is that true?
Yep.
I can't envision that. We talk church at work all the time because we have 3 different people, 4 different denominations. Like it's just a fun place to come to. Melting pot. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but we
100%.
love just spitting back and forth and stuff. And yeah, it would be really fun to see some big group worship. I don't know.
Or at least a service project or something.
Yeah. Clean up Bell Tower. That could be a service project.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think I'd be going to that service that day.
There's been a mild push to, and this is not confirmed. This was a loose idea that it's not in the works or anything. So don't anybody
But it's official, right? No.
Stop it.
Not official.
There's a dream to redo like the Raccoon Valley golf course clubhouse, the entryway there, just because it's old, and to make it like uncovered and like, I don't know. I had a vision. I was drawing something out one time for people, but it's like, that's a service project where I can't remember who I was talking to. Someone at the city was like, well, if you can find the volunteers to come in on a day and get it done, then I'm sure we could do something like that. But it almost was said in a way like that it'll never happen.
Right. You'll
You
never
can't-
find those volunteers to actually show up.
Right.
Well, I would say ask some people playing in Bell Tower. I bet they didn't think they'd have their volunteers figured out. And I think the ticket booth is doing pretty good. I think some other things have been filled in. I don't know. You have to ask.
You have to ask. You have to ask.
And there has to be a mission. What is that? Money follows mission. People follow passion. I mean, if you have the right mission, then you'll figure it out. It will figure itself out.
Is that something you have kept in mind, starting the flower shop? Or not starting, but continuing the flower shop? Like money follows mission. Does that apply to you in what you do on a day-to-day?
More at church. I think of just because you think mission, you think church, but it's like if we have an important thing we want to do, then the money will come. Like we want to send kids to church camp, whether they can pay for it or not. We've never not sent a kid. Double negative. We've always sent kids.
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I probably do a little bit at the flower shop just because that's how I think. If it's worth doing, then it will happen. If it's not, then it doesn't get done, and on to the next.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great point too, because I think you do have to be intentional about what mission you're on. Otherwise you're going to get distracted, and then the main one won't get done, the main thing. I think that's something that we could talk to any area of life probably, where there's things that keep us off course because we get distracted by something else. We could talk about it in the health sphere. Like I get distracted from my lifting goal or my weight loss goal or whatever goal I have. I got distracted from it because I wanted to eat that or drink that or do that or not do that. We could talk about it in terms of church too. I mean, I didn't come to church, or I didn't engage in worship, or I didn't, read the word, or I didn't take the time to pray, or I did, and not just in a task way, but I didn't grow at all because I was focused on something else. I had another piece drawing me away. I was distracted, or I'm not thinking about loving people, or I'm not thinking about, speaking truth because I'm distracted by some other issue or some other thing that isn't really what I'm primarily supposed to be about. I think we do have to know what we're about if we're going to be about it well. I suppose like for you at the flower shop, I mean, I'm sure that is something that has been a mission to see that grow, and I'm sure you have had to say no to opportunities to be distracted by other things.
And I don't like to say no. I vision, I did a mom's group one time, and you envision this plate that's full of marbles, and for a mom, it's always full. So you have to take something off to put something on. Otherwise the whole marbles go falling down. So yeah, like I love animals, and I had to get off the pause group for a while because I just couldn't commit to volunteering on weekends, stuff like that. So yeah, but who likes to say no to good things? You know, it's hard to spend your time resource the way you want, but you have to.
You have to.
I was just going to give a quote. I think the person who quoted this is maybe John Bevere, and he said that good is the enemy of great.
Oh.
Good is the enemy of great. Lots of little good things will draw you away from a great thing or a few great things that you'd be called to do.
I could see that.
So, just that concept of, there are a lot of good things you could get involved in, but is it the right thing? Is it the, great thing? Is it the thing you're called to?
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I'm doing my calling. It's not I love to do it. I don't, there's something about dreading Mondays and looking forward to Fridays. I don't. I figured out my schedule. So I love a Monday. I love a Friday. I work Saturdays a lot of time. A day is a day.
Yeah.
And if I need to take an hour away from work, I have the employees that I can do that. And if they need to, they know, just say, hey, I got to get out of here for a little bit. Figure out, go run errands. I mean, if their plate is so full that they don't have time to go to the post office, it's like, just go do that.
Go to the chiropractor.
Or go to the chiropractor across the street from the flower shop.
Yeah, make it happen.
Just do it.
Yep.
Just go do it.
Yep. I wish more people felt the freedom to do that. Not just go to the chiropractor, but
just to take care of what needs taken care of, so you can not be so stressed.
Right. Because 90% of people walk in to my office and they're stressed, and they'll tell me they're stressed, which
he can already tell probably.
Normally it doesn't take. I think we can tell. Yeah.
Is it the way they put their number into the keypad? Is that the way they pull the door open?
You get good at reading people. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure you do too.
Oh,
just like the way people, you're around people all the time. So
yeah, if someone's coming in to talk about a wedding versus a funeral versus a birthday versus a whatever.
Wow,
and
how interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
and emotions play a physical role in your body. Like just because you're feeling something, I mean, it's having a physical toll on you. Like when you said that, I got a vision of how the posture would be different when you are talking about a wedding versus a funeral, and how you probably straighten up and brighten up with a wedding, and a funeral is usually
my tone is different. My sister's a hospice nurse, and I think she's kind of taught me some of that too. She's always been the good listener, so I try to channel her a little bit and just listen to what they have to say versus talk, which again is hard for me.
Because you got a lot to say.
Apparently, something. I just like to talk, but.
So in that hospice situation, that's something your sister has learned, is like listening is...
She's always been good at it. That's why it's her calling.
Sure.
I mean, because she's always been a great listener to people, and yeah, she does a great job at that. So I hear, people, she doesn't tell me because she can't, because that's, part of what she's so good at.
Right.
Who can keep a secret in Jefferson? It's a hospice nurse. They're good at their jobs.
Good for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Single mom. She's rocking it.
Do you think everyone has a calling?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have not found it.
What would you say to that person who hasn't found it yet?
Go look for it. If you can't quit your job to go find it, go do it outside of something else. I hate to see someone so sad with I think that's the hardest part, having employees. I want them to feel fulfilled. And if they don't, I want them to tell me what I can do to help that. I don't. You've always, every one of us has probably been around somebody who you can just tell they're like, they hate Mondays and they love Friday. It's that person. Yep. If you're that person, you probably haven't found your calling yet. And if there's things about my job that I don't like, which there are, man, I've got some good staff that just are like, I'll take care of that for you. I like doing that. That's fine. Great. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So find your people.
Lindsay's that for me.
Lindsay's your
right
person.
Now. Yeah, Lindsay's my person. She, when she came on, we talked about in 18 months or 24 months, she should not be working with me anymore. That this is a stepping stone into her real life's calling. And so really we're probably just over 6 months ish into that. And so
he meant 3 years though when he said no. I'm just kidding. He wants to keep you a little longer.
Right. Yeah.
Those time goes
I'm not
fast
mad about
though.
it. I like my job.
Yeah. But that does bring up
that.
an interesting point though. You have kind of different hours. I mean, pastors have weird hours too. why do you do the hours you do? Like, you're open 9 to noon, right?
Yep.
And then 3 to 6.
Yep.
So what do you do for 3 hours in the middle of the day when we're all working and slaving away?
People, oh man.
I'm sure
Yep.
you've gotten asked that. That's why I say
All
it
the
with
time.
a little twang.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a hot topic. for
Okay,
me, 'cause
well,
people accuse me of
the
being
soapbox is
lazy.
yours.
Yeah. I don't need to go there. I'm pretty
No.
secure at this point.
Yeah.
But usually the rule of thumb is we try to be there, 20 minutes before the shift, and I'm almost always there. 30 minutes after the shift is a good day. If I'm still there an hour after the shift is normal. So if I finish adjusting at noon, which often becomes 12:15 or 12:20, I'm there till 1:15.
Yep.
And then I'm back again at 2:30.
Yep.
So those 3 hours all of a sudden became an hour and 15 minutes where I'm running home to see my wife and my child, eat something, do some other things, such as like try to organize Bell Tower Festival.
Right.
I'm trying to cram into this. Yeah. So then I run from one thing to the next to run back to the office to go adjust for 3 to 4 hours and put my head down and be that person for everyone that comes to me for an answer or a problem. And then I run home and try to have enough energy to, be present at home. And so it's not, those are my hours. It's because if I did it any other way, I would have no ability to get anything else done. Yeah. And as a self-employed person, I reserve the right to form my own hours.
Yep. And the
do
minute
what-
you stop feeling guilty about it is a good day. Like because I probably actually work in the shop the same, 6 hours a day, but you've got a lot of other things you have to figure out, and just being in your office to try to pay bills or do whatever you're supposed to do. And it takes a lot more time than you
difficult.
think it would. And I'm
Right.
sure
When you're there, you're working there. I mean,
Right,
you're not
you're
doing
focused.
other stuff too.
Right.
It's not like you're there to do
Right.
personal,
Right.
Right.
And
like in between all your appointments that are like overlapping each other.
I was gonna
like,
say, what in between?
right? Yeah.
yeah, been very busy lately. So there's no scrolling Facebook during
No.
that 9 to noon or 3 to 6.
Right.
It is wall to wall. Like,
right. Well, and I'm sure as a pastor, like, do you get a day or two off? Truly?
Yeah, like
Do you Friday, Saturday?
I
is
usually
your-
take Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. And
yeah.
you need that respite day, but
Yeah, it's true. But even that, I'm still like, on call is probably the wrong way to say it,
Yeah.
but it's like,
You're
yeah, I'm
available.
always available.
you're
you know?
available to those that are in need.
Yeah,
And for podcasts.
And a lot of
Yeah,
people
right,
have my phone
right.
number. It's like
Sure.
it's out there. People know how to get, or Facebook.
Yeah.
People know how to get a hold of you.
And
So
that's actually, I have a lot of my friends are medical professionals in Des Moines,
Mm-hmm.
and they have had people that track them down through Facebook and send them a message. That's why they've had to go to different avenues, because they get on their personal Facebook,
Yeah.
I don't want to call it, but a prescription needs filled or something, it's like, that's what,
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a boundary. And I think
sure.
boundaries, Brene Brown, I don't know if you guys watch her at all, but boundaries, she taught me a lot about setting up a boundary and being okay with that. Love that.
with your relationships in that whole relationship.
Yeah,
topic.
relationships work. I mean,
Yeah.
you could set up healthy boundaries, and
Sure.
that's when I learned it's okay to say no. Was after a study at hers. I'm like, wow, I'm pretty stubborn, but I'm pretty influenced too. Like, you give me a good line or a good speech, and I'm like, yes, that is it.
if you're
Awesome.
convinced, you're gonna be stubborn about it.
Yes, yeah. I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but I can easily be changed. Like, that's good or bad. I'm not too resolved in some of my things. I'm pretty flexible. I vote both ways. I vote for the best hair. No, I'm kidding. I do not do that. I would not advise anyone doing that.
Good.
But no, I like listening to someone and learning from them. It's fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Like you two. Whoa. Isaac's like, what? Me? What? Yeah. No, too fun. Yeah, I actually did have to watch one of your sermons I was saying, and it was the one on patience.
Oh, like last week. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I'm like, this hurts. I don't know if I want to listen to this one or not.
Wasn't trying to hurt you, Bonnie.
You were speaking to me. I've actually had a pastor say, if you felt like I was speaking directly to you, I wasn't. But if you felt like that, that was good.
Yeah.
Then it spoke to you. That's
I think
okay.
I said that to someone this week. Actually, I was like, it's the best when it's for you, but it was
You
for
didn't-
everybody.
You didn't know it was for them. Everybody
yeah,
needed to hear
it was
that.
really just for everybody, but
Yep.
it spoke really directly to you. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good thing. I love it when that happens to me too,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
it does.
yeah. Do you ever get to go listen to someone else preach?
I haven't in person
Mm-hmm.
lately. We have a guest minister scheduled to come in April, and so I will that Sunday, and I'll be in the service and
It's kind of fun.
get to hear, and that'll be awesome. But I listen to a variety of other ministers throughout the week, so
Yeah.
I kind of set time aside to have like another church service, sort of,
Yep.
just to be a recipient of the word, and
It's a different way
I'll take time to just put worship on in my house or something, and still
It's nice.
be on the filling end instead of the giving end.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah.
One of my favorite guest preachers was your dad at our church one time. I'm just like, yeah, Tim. Right?
Tim's got it.
He does.
He's got something.
And he knows his scripture, so he
Yeah.
doesn't have to look back to it. It's ingrained in him.
Yeah.
You can tell.
It's been called Tim the Baptist
Tim.
several times.
Baptists at our church, a Disciples of Christ church, I'd be like, talk about polar opposites. That's amazing. I love it. But that's why I think we can all come to what we agree on versus what we disagree on. Gets fun that way.
Have you gotten caught in arguments, like religious or in Christianity arguments before?
I wouldn't say caught in them. I'm okay
No?
saying, you know what, you feel that way and I feel my way, and that's okay. There's a lot of topics that you could probably get. And I understand where people are coming from when they disagree with me. I can understand that. And I don't feel the need to convince them of my way I feel. My husband and I we're pretty opposite on a way we feel a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fun raising kids when you feel differently, and then you got to let them kind of figure it out. Well, this is how mom feels and dad feels this way. So here's your guidance. Good luck.
Sure. Just set up some guardrails and
Yeah.
then just let them.
Then they kind of wiggle around
Sure.
and they figure it out. I think that's how we're doing it. Right or wrong, that's how it's rolling in the Silbaugh house. My husband finds God in nature and
Mine does.
the way he helps people and in action, so I find it in a group, a Bible study, something really intense. And so,
You need to dig. You need to analyze.
yeah.
Sure. Which is why you do that with movies too.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
I'm vibing with you there on the wavelength, just constantly analyzing. I don't know how to shut it off necessarily, which
Yep. As long as people around you listen to it, why shut it off?
right.
Read into everything.
Try not
That
to.
kind of is
Yeah.
that.
I can.
Yeah.
Can.
But not usually in a bad way. But
Is that restful, or is it like exhausting, or
it's not
neither?
exhausting. It's more like it's good. It's like, oh, I can come to this conclusion because this is this or this, and okay, there's an end to it. And I'm like, okay, I'm settled in that. So probably why I like Nicholas Sparks books, because they all have this rosy package at the end that's like, it all
A
works
nice
out.
end.
Yeah. I've been reading some books though lately that are not like that people have recommended. I'm like, oh, all the beautiful and ugly, or ugly and terrible things, or the beautiful and ugly things by Bryn Greenwood. Ooh, that one's kind of like life when you don't have any resources and what you have to do to make it work. And it's so sad. And yeah, don't recommend that book.
Is there one book you would recommend? One book that has been heavily influential on
You
you?
guys are going to laugh at me. It's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up.
Okay.
Is that terrible to
No.
say? Have you guys ever heard of this book?
That's a great book.
I haven't.
It's a
I
great book.
I haven't read it, but like
You don't
the
ha-
principles behind it.
I have the illustrated guide to it too, but it's basically how to declutter your life. And it's talking about tangible things, but there's this whole spiritual practice to it that it's amazing. Basically you take every piece of everything in your home, and if it doesn't bring you joy, you get rid of it. And
Is this a Netflix?
she had one, but I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend the book.
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
I liked the show, but
Do
I also
you?
haven't read the book. So
Oh, the book is just more, it's very easy to read. It's little tidbits, paragraphs. I don't know. But yeah,
Very
a friend of mine
influential.
told me to read that, and she was right.
Nice.
It's this whole Zen feel when you're done.
So your house is
It's pretty organized. My closet needs redone again. But,
Sure.
I don't keep a lot of, if I don't need it, it's probably thrown away or given away. I just don't. The only thing I keep is sentimental stuff for the kids, because that's what moms do. But that's it.
right. Other than that, decluttered.
Yeah.
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 nice.
Has it like increased your awareness of clutter and like messes?
And what's important. We live in a 1-story home, so we don't have this storage thing. We didn't want storage because then we just accumulate stuff we don't need. So yeah, it enlightens you of what's important and like just what really makes you happy. And it's amazing how little in your home makes you happy.
Have you gotten rid of something that you later needed?
Yes, but if I ever truly needed it, I bought it again.
Sure.
But it's only been a couple like kitchen items that as I've learned to cook, it's like that would have been helpful to keep.
Sure.
Which anyone in my house would say, I really don't know how to cook that great. I'm not, I make up recipes as I go, we're out of milk, add water. It's fine. I eat it. It's fine.
Sure. Funny.
Ask Kate, I won't buy hot dogs anymore because they're just cancerous. See?
Wow.
You're making it. But mac and cheese, we're not giving up yet. So we're not there.
You'll get there.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. The kids aren't there yet. But yeah, nothing that has been so important that I'm like, wow, I really wish I wouldn't have thrown that away. But yeah. But don't do it around your parents. That was not my, my parents were like, why would you get rid of that? Well, I don't use it and I don't even like it.
Makes sense to me, but I guess that's not a...
And don't do it to your spouse's things. Let them do their own.
Right.
It's a good relational tip, right? Good
and they actually
tip.
say let your kids do it on their own. Let them figure out. And actually, I caught myself keeping their stuff when they wanted to get rid of it. I'm like, oh, but those books, they don't
Like,
want
Mom,
those.
I don't read this.
I don't. Yeah. So, yeah, super fun. But yeah, that is like one book that I would really. You'll know it if you read it, if it hits you or not.
Was there one movie that really was influential? Because favorite movie and influential movie, I guess I'm saying are two different things.
Influential was The Shack.
Was The Shack,
For sure.
okay.
Influential wise. But favorite movie.
Favorite.
I really love Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh,
It's a silly little movie, but
Sure.
it has Ryan Gosling, who was in The Notebook, so you can't, and it's just about forgiveness, and it's funny, and I'm all about a funny movie. I'll watch any of those. I watch any of the ones you've mentioned, Army, any of those. Love any of those. The only ones I haven't watched that I'm looking at the walls down here is like The Lord of the Rings.
you haven't watched those?
None of them.
No.
No, none of them.
That's
Because
fair.
you don't have interest, or
Yeah.
okay.
Haven't gotten there. Wish we got into
good
Harry
series.
Potter. Never did that. Like, right? But I am famous for liking something way after it's popular. Like, I didn't get into the Twilight thing until it was like movie 4. And then I made my husband go with me to the 5th movie, like at midnight on a Thursday. And everyone screamed and cheered at the end, which was so fun. Yeah. He does great things for me. I'm sure he did
What a
not
guy.
want to be
Sounds like a
there.
What a
nice
guy.
guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Shout out to my husband.
For sure. What how has that, on a relationship topic here, I'm gonna skip right to that.
Go
right
for
here.
it. I'm good.
How long have you been married?
11 years.
How have you cultured and nurtured that relationship over 11 years as you've added kids, changed jobs, changed careers?
I think we're better today than we were before
Yeah.
when we got married. I think we figure each other out what works and what doesn't. We, like I mentioned, we're going to go on a date night. Like we do stuff together quite a bit. I usually like spending time with him, and he usually likes spending time with me. And so and we're both funny. We both like to tease and joke around. So sometimes he'll say something and, somebody at work will kind of look, and I'm like, he's teasing. Like, that's a joke. He calls me woman. I call him husband. Like, we're just teasing. We don't mean it to be, So yeah. But I tell you what, parenting, and then us having a stepson that lives with us all the time, and we've had things we've had to figure out, and yeah, we just figure it out. I don't know how it works, but I guess we're just both super committed to it. And the other night, though, it was a little weird. I'm sitting there sewing, and he was fixing a bow and getting ready to like shoot his deer in the yard, and I'm like, this is what it's going to be like when it's just us. I'm going to sit here. I just took a sewing class, I'm just learning to sew. Like, I learned to thread my machine a couple weeks ago, and now I'm making all these bags. But yeah, so I'm like, this is going to be us in 10, 15, 20 years.
How did you feel about that thought?
I was like, this is all right.
This is all right.
I'm okay with it. Yeah. I don't know. What do we need at Fairway? We're going to go to Fairway and have a date. I don't, we keep it simple. I think that's kind of the secret to it. I think every married person would say that, when you're, and then giving, like, he's okay that I'm here because he'll handle everything. And we just kind of take turns when we need to, and then take off when we need to. And it works.
Sounds very adaptable.
Yeah. And I've learned, I've learned when to be quiet. So if he's done something that I'm not super happy with, I just kind of wait a little bit and then we'll talk about it later. I don't have to fix a problem right now. You know, and I think a lot of times, you know, that whole don't go to bed angry thing. I do too. Sometimes you need that overnight because then by the morning you're not angry anyway. Like
It's not so bad in the morning.
it's not. You know, don't argue with me after 9 p.m. I mean, for sure, I'm on the downward spiral of, you know, kids should be
100%.
in bed by now probably, but yeah.
Do you have any pastoral? Because I've heard that
Maybe
that
we need
there's-
pastoral counseling.
That doesn't necessarily mean don't
I
go to
just-
bed.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the danger in going to bed is like you leave things unsolved. You know, like because like you said, you wake up in the morning and it's like, oh, it's a new day. You know,
Yeah.
and maybe the anger doesn't carry over, but the thing that made you angry might still be there, and then
Right.
you're just gonna have to deal with it again another time.
Right. Can't let it
You know,
fester.
and then next time, is it going to be worse than it was this time, and is it going to bother you more next time than it did this time?
Right.
I think that's the danger in just kind of we'll
Figure it out another
get
day.
to it another time.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Yep. And I have
you will.
Yeah.
will.
One way or another.
Right.
Yep. And isn't that funny? It seems to be like the small little things that seem to make people all of a sudden they don't talk about them sometime. Yeah. Yep. Ours seem to be pretty chill little things for the most part. And it seems like our date night travels is when we figure out when there's no distractions. You know, we're not on our phones that much and the kids aren't there. And yeah, it seems to work out. So
Yeah.
that's solid advice, though. Don't want to let it fester too much or grow into something that, yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Create resentment and layers
Yeah.
of distrust or whatnot.
Right.
I think too, it's about just being on the same page, which I'm sure you guys are most of the time. And, you know, it's like you should grow together.
Right.
I heard someone, they gave the illustration one time and they said, you know, marriage in God's design is meant to be like a triangle where there's the two of you and then God's at the center. And as you both pursue him, you're going to get closer together as you grow. And so, you know, another thing I've kind of heard before is like I don't know if this was a Jocko Willink thing, but he talked about like the pyramid or the ladder of like goals or, you know, like motivations. He said if you go up high enough on that, like you get off of, well, I want to do this today and they want to do this other thing today. Like if we go up in value to, you know, what do we want our life to look like together? You know, usually there's common ground up there and maybe at the breakdown down here it's different, but we just kind of have to take this rung by rung and see where the disconnect's happening and why is that and how can we come into line and realize we're still, you know, really united in our end goal, but maybe we're differing in this small thing further down, this more minute thing. So how can we focus on the end goal and be, you know, maybe there's a little bit of compromise there. Maybe there's a little bit of
A lot of it.
apology and
A lot of it.
apologizing there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yep.
but yeah. I'm not married, just so everybody knows.
Disclaimer to the no. Isn't marriage just something you figure out when, I mean, you know what your goal is, but yeah, you figure it out as you go. I mean, how many years have you been married?
Going on 4 this June.
Yeah. Yep. And it goes so fast. It just goes so fast. Yeah. My little 8-year-old actually the other day said, Mom, who would you pick? Me, Dad, or God?
For
See
what?
what I mean? Just in life, just in general. That's what I said. Well, what are we, like, are we all falling off a cliff?
Right.
Like, because God can save
Yeah.
himself. But where are we at here? And I said, here's what do you think? I always turn my kids. That's a parenting tip. What do you think? So what do you think? He's like, well, God's first. See, my 8-year-old gets it. And I said, God is first. I said, and I love you so much, but then it's your dad, and then it's you. And that, his comfort, he's like, yep, I'm okay with that. Like, he's okay. He understands that. But I just see a lot of people, you know, God first, then your husband, wife, then your kids. Because like I said, there's going to be a day where we're sewing and shooting bows and there are no kids around and we got to figure out what we're doing. And I feel like we already kind of are getting a taste of that. So, but how funny my little 8-year-old guy is like, he was like,
to
yeah,
know.
you're supposed to say that.
It's a good training moment right there.
He went with a friend to his youth group the other night to a different church, and he came home with that insight. And he also came with this snake and this guy named Adam and talking. I said, you know, there was Eve too. And he's like, no, we didn't talk about her.
funny.
I said, okay, well, yeah, you got the snake figured out.
Right.
But
I feel like she's pretty integral to the
I
story.
feel like that was important, but I thought that was pretty cute. But see, different church kind of teaching the same basics, so that was good.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Really good.
Super
Really good.
fun.
What's one thing you know about health that you wish everyone knew?
You can stop drinking pop. Easy. Wow. Don't ever smoke. Gosh, what else is there? You know what's funny is I've tried to lose weight lots of times. Who doesn't, I guess, as a woman. But the minute you just say, like, I want to start eating healthy or I want to start being healthy, it's like a whole new, like, you don't care as much. You just want to be healthy, eat real food. Mm-hmm. You've said that a few different times.
Sure.
It's like, I just have where I love to eat the real good. Like, give me an almonds, I'll eat a bag. It's the,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't like your
quantity.
taste kind of change too as you like stop doing one thing and start eating the real stuff?
I tried to have a Diet Pepsi the other day, and it was the sweetest, grossest thing. It was just like, and that's a Diet Coke. That's my go-to.
Really?
It was gross. After 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
It's yeah.
I'm pumped for you on that.
Until volleyball, a teammate shows up with Mountain Dew, and he's going to lose his marbles. You remember that day? Somebody showed up with a Mountain Dew just to rub it into you.
Yep.
Guy on my team, he was doing it just to dig at him.
Did he get in your head? Did the Mountain Dew get in your head?
Well,
Was this recent?
yeah,
Was
a couple weeks ago.
Was it a
3
kid?
weeks. No, it was a guy. Tall guy that goes to your church. Without saying names. Yeah, I remember now.
At volleyball.
At volleyball.
Yes. Yes.
I don't want to drop names when they're not here to
okay.
defend
Yep.
themselves. But
I remember that. Yep.
yeah, he knows who he is.
He knows, and he knows better.
And he knows
and
better.
he knows better. He's making a choice.
Yeah.
I just want to know, did they win?
We always win. That was my team.
Yeah. Oh, that was your team?
The lowdown.
We won the first game, and then you guys
We
came
always
back.
lose one, and then we usually end
That's
up
the
winning
strategy,
a game or
right?
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get them comfortable and then.
It's silly.
Yeah. If ask me if I exercise, and it's no, but I'll play 5-6
She
games
balls.
of volleyball a day.
She balls.
Oh, love
Yep.
that volleyball.
For sure.
I think your sister talked about that on hers too. Like, it's not that you don't want to exercise, but you need that like competitive or that group effort.
Yep.
Oh, so true. I'll go
Very
to the rec
much so.
center anytime and
Yep.
play volleyball, but
Right on.
way more fun than
Yeah.
beach body at home or whatever.
Which works for a lot of
Which
people,
works.
but yeah.
It works great.
but
I
it's-
have so many friends that have
Yep.
like all these communities and they're doing so great. But yeah, super fun.
I don't know. Do we compete with each other? Are you secretly competing?
Well, we're going to compete at Bell Tower 2021, axe throwing,
Heck yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
right? I'm just throwing that little out there.
sure.
Yeah, I'll
Gotta do
compete
my
with you
shout-out.
about that.
You would on that?
Yeah, I'll throw
For
an
sure.
X.
I kind of want to throw an axe. I've never thrown
sure.
an axe or shot a gun or anything. I think it'd be
Oh my
fun.
goodness. Axe throwing is super fun.
I
Tyler and
sounds-
I did it a couple of years ago. I
That's-
even got to the point where I could throw 2 axes at once.
Oh,
That was neat.
our 5-year anniversary party, we had a knife throwing. Somebody brought, I don't know who
Oh,
brought
fun.
that. Oh,
Sure.
that was
Crazy.
I didn't get to throw it because I couldn't throw it very well, but
Axe Friday night, Bell Tower, June 11th, 6 to 9 p.m. Axe throwing on the square.
that's right.
Yep.
And then
It's good.
come see me in the ticket booth. I'll give you a ticket and a drink. 'Cause I'm volunteering like
Boom.
everyone should if you love your town.
Right on. It's good. Thank you for your
I could
service.
shout out to Jefferson all day. What other events are coming up? We got a bike ride, don't we?
We got a bike ride
Brag.
May 8th.
I could do this in my
Yeah.
sleep.
We've got 55 people signed up for that already.
You're gonna have over 100.
I'm super psyched
I'm
about that.
guaranteed. I wish it wasn't Mother's Day, Saturday, because I'm stuck at work. Mother's Day is kind of a big flower
Is that
holiday.
Mother's Day?
Yeah. Mother's Day Saturday. It's the day before. You're fine.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just not.
We
You're
knew that.
good. You
We
do
knew
your
that.
event. You do you. I say that a lot to my kids
You
too.
do
You
you.
do you.
Sure.
But yeah, no, bike ride. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
This dog is crazy down here.
She
She's
is
in
crazy.
fetch mode.
She knows I
which
like
means
animals.
she feels your.
Yeah,
I might
I'm
go
one
take her
with them.
upstairs quick.
She wants
She's
to do a podcast.
This is the real unfiltered life here.
This is the yeah.
Oh man, good catch, Bonnie.
Good catch,
Okay.
Bonnie. All right, now Levine.
Okay.
Look at that.
And we're still live.
We're still somehow
You know
wow.
what?
Okay.
That's
Welcome
amazing.
to the chaos of our lives.
Yeah.
That's totally normal though to me. Like
Dog's
reach out and grab
knocking.
something, it didn't break.
Sure.
We've got a little 6-pounder and a 75-pounder,
Impressive.
so that's all they do all day. We're good.
That's wild.
We're gonna
Wow,
have to make
great.
sure the camera's on you guys for that tumble though.
Well, I
'cause
wonder-
I don't know how that.
I
I don't
wonder.
know if it was or not.
That was wild. If
We'll
you're
go-
watching, then
We'll go blank on that part for 30 seconds.
If
Maybe.
not, we caught your amazing catch on the other side.
One or the other.
Super fun.
We got
That
some
was
good
good.
footage.
Oh
Awesome.
my goodness.
Yeah, you can flip that there if you want to.
Yeah, Nala just like took that out.
I saw that going differently in my mind.
Was it like slow motion? Like, oh no.
Oh no! Like I didn't expect her to be wrapped up. I thought she was clear, and then
Well, she's been clear for the last 15 minutes.
That was
and the
glorious.
one
All of a
time we
sudden
throw the
she-
ball, she
yep.
wrapped it up.
Oh,
Terrible.
That
Nala.
was too fun.
anyway, okay. Well, what are we at? A little bit over an hour and a half, right?
145.
145.
Oh, well, anything else
fast.
you're thinking?
I was gonna ask you what the coolest thing you've ever done is.
Ooh. Zipline was pretty fun.
Did you do that in another country?
No, did it in, Missouri. No, I'm kidding.
So basically,
Basically, yeah.
No.
where Isaac's from.
I knew that. I think I knew that. That's, why I
That's
said-
hilarious.
No,
Yeah.
actually, I think it was in Southern Illinois with my
Okay.
in-laws and my husband last year. We did that.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, did that. No, took a bunch of floral classes. Got to do like a certification. I love that. Thought that was fun. Having a couple kids wasn't bad
Pretty
either.
cool.
That was probably top 5.
What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
Well, having kids.
Having kids. Awesome. For sure. Yep. What's one thing you know about life that you wish everyone knew?
What is that saying? Worrying's like a rocking chair, keeps you busy, gets you nowhere. That is like, I think that was our class motto. Could have
Was it?
been. But yeah, people worry about things that they don't need to worry about. Give it up.
Give it up.
Give it up.
I agree. Give it up. Tomorrow will worry about itself.
That is the only, Matthew 3:4? It's like the only, right?
I don't
Could
know
be.
if it's 3-4, but yeah.
4:3. It's Matthew. There, it's in there.
It's in there for sure.
It's about the only scripture that
Yep,
I have memorized because it's my favorite.
It's awesome. It's
But-
good.
Yeah.
What's the best flower?
Ooh, now that is the hardest question. I thought you were going to keep it easy. Oh.
I thought mine were pretty hard.
I'll have to
I
get
thought
back
that
to
was-
it.
that
Marriage,
was-
no. That's
We've been talking about the wrong
Religion,
things then.
no
Marriage,
problem, but
easy.
flowers?
Religion, easy.
Flowers. This is
love,
where it gets
I
difficult.
love them all. Garden assortment every day.
What's Iowa State flower?
Ooh, I don't know. What is Iowa State flower? Isn't it like a plant or a bush or something?
Is it?
I'll ask the Google
feel-
machine here.
See?
I feel like it's an oak tree.
That's probably right.
An oak tree.
Honestly. Well, sometimes, yeah.
I feel like she could be right. I got nothing.
It
Our
is
class.
the prairie rose.
Interesting.
Oh, rose, Iowa rose, wild rose. That's why it's
Of
called
course.
that. I knew that.
Wild rose.
Roses are good, but don't get basic red. Get something different. Yeah.
I think black roses are super cool.
Did you get black roses the other day?
I did
I
not.
just had to spray roses black yesterday, a dozen of them. And I told the guy, I said, this might kill my soul. But if it looks good, I will do this for you.
So funny.
And it looked good. So I let him have those. But
It's funny.
Yeah, I
Are they
was
all
over-
painted or does somebody grow
painted
black?
or stem dyed.
Oh,
yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
All roses that are colored.
Not all of them. Black, blue,
Oh,
tie dye. If you see the rainbow ones, those are not really grown that way. No, all flowers. I can't even.
all of them.
I couldn't.
You've got a passion for that.
The minute I pick one, what's your favorite movie, Pastor?
Can't do it.
Can't do it. We can't do it. What's your favorite scripture? Ooh, can you do that? I actually don't expect you to be able to answer that.
Mine's like a chapter chunk. John 15 is me.
Yeah, there's a lot that I really like. I mean, like our church main one is John 10:10, and I'm really that's one of them for me for sure. That the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come that you may have life and have it more abundant. So abundance of life, I'm really about that. So I like that one a lot.
Well, probably why you're called there.
Yeah,
I mean, that works out that way. Yeah, but no, I mean, religion, that's easy. Favorite flower, oof.
Ooh, right on.
That is sarcasm.
Taylor's favorite flower is a Gerber daisy. So
Ooh, is that what you're having at your wedding?
I don't know.
You should. You should.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Taylor about that.
I bet you do. I bet you don't know what you're doing, but yeah, that Gerber daisy, that's a good one.
6 weeks, bro. Basically 6-7 weeks.
So soon.
So soon. It's no time at all.
No time at all.
Yeah. That's good.
Flying by. Just like this podcast.
I know. I'm
Flying
out of
by.
water, which means we have to be done soon. I drank all my water. My
about
thing
to
didn't
start
even go
beeping.
off. Yeah. Oh, see, there it's lighting up.
No more questions for us here on your sheet that you brought.
Oh.
You're the only person who's really ever come with.
Oh, that's my personality. I can't get over it. No, I think that is. I am just, you guys keep doing these. I learn something every time. I won't listen to my own because I can't do it, but I'll listen to every other one.
We'll pull a clip and post that.
Oh,
the
good
highlight,
night.
the highlight reel.
Please
Nala knocked
do.
out the camera.
And Bonnie caught it.
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
her
it was
that
very
was
catcher's
impressive.
instinct.
Heroic.
Yeah, that is exactly where that came from.
We've got the outro on right here. This has been episode 9. We're gonna keep
Wow.
rolling them out. Can
right.
you imagine number 100?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, be here before you know it.
Yeah, truly, as it flies by.
A mere
Good.
100 weeks away.
No time at all.
No time at all. It's been a pleasure, Bonnie.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks. Good to get to know you guys a little better.
right on.
Fun.
Do it again
Absolutely.
sometime when you start your podcast. Maybe we'll come on.
There.
you go.
Love it. Facebook Live with you too.
Right on. Cool.
Selling flowers.
Anytime. Boom. Okay. Episode 9. We're a wrap. Unfiltered. He's Isaac.
He's Philip.
This was Bonnie. That was Lindsay.
What's up?
Deuces.